respite from it is darkness. Sometimes I turn off the lights in the stairwell just to escape that color. That was before I found the cages. Now I don't want to be in that stairwell with the lights off. I can't entertain the thought of being in that for more than a moment. There's where the boy in the overalls came from, and I have an unwelcome suspicion that I am intended to take his place. I avoid it now, but it is always on the back of my mind. Also, perform experiments on the boy. See if she is in pain. Most likely not. If so, try to cut him a mouth. He's scared. He writhed under me and made muffled noises through the skin. There was no jaw movement when he made those noises. If I cut into that smooth face, I'm not certain there'd be teeth and a tongue under it, perhaps just an equally smooth, featureless skull. I think he knows what is wrong with this place. It could be he was changed to prevent him from telling. I've also thought that he might have been someone else who had this dream, that I might end up like him. If I could see into the cages, it might answer that. I tried rigging up a light on a cord, but the shadow inside has substance, volume. Like a mist or a cloud. The light only penetrates so far. I can hear something, a grinding and a dull, muffled moaning. I can see hints of motion in the shadow but nothing more. I hate that part of the building, and don't want to visit it without good reason. You just said there were no living things and now you're saying there was a kid. Why didn't you bring this kid up from the start? I meant plants and animals. There is no growth typical of abandoned buildings. Nor rats you'd also normally find there. The boy is not clearly a normal human being and may be something like a hallucination. His anatomy is implausible. There are no orifices through which he could breathe, for example. Like bee machines, there are obvious problems with the logic of how he works. I wish there were some way to communicate. The writing idea is novel. I will try that tonight. I'm concerned that if I spend the money on an old camera it'll just be thwarted again. The recurring theme is that of a carrot dangled in front of me and then yanked away every time I reach for it. This place defies every effort to pin it down and extract details from it beyond what I'm apparently permitted to see, and map out. At times I resign myself to this, at other times I am consumed with frustration and the drive to find some way outside. To pry answers from this place. When I am content with the mystery of it, I am for some reason able to venture further. See more. Like I am being punished for trying to color outside the lines. If you can supposedly take things into this world. I have tried that. In both directions. In the dream. Holding a tool until I woke up. While awake and in bed. Clutching my notebook and trying to take it with me. Only my clothes make it through. I think what is being transferred here is my outer appearance, not objects near or on me. Like a projection. I have no strong religious convictions, but some degree of spiritual feeling. I have never fitted to any organized conception of spiritual belief. I have no concrete ideas about beings, or places. My only experience with that sort of thing is this foundry. I can't say whether it's supernatural. It defies every effort to prove it's anything other than a dream, while simultaneously showing uncanny, impossible to ignore signs that it is a real and persistent location that I somehow visit while unconscious. I would like to see what my brain looks like to an fMRI machine while I'm there. I'd volunteer to be studied, but I doubt anybody with access to that equipment would take me seriously enough to go through with it. If you change something in the surroundings, like for example scratch something on the wall, does it last until your next visit? And anything I break or move remains that way in the next dream. It is, in fact, persistent. Everything is, each night, the way I left it the prior night. That's one aspect that makes it difficult to accept as a recurring dream. Why is it so specific? Why the particular unusual properties, that are consistent throughout the structure? Why that color light, from every source? Why no bathrooms? Why no exit signs? The drawers have no handles. It's like it was built by someone who only had descriptions of factories, refineries, and so on to work from, but didn't actually understand what they are for. I need to see what's outside to know how much if any of my suspicions are accurate. Leave something organic. Probably some small amount of food. I'm curious if it'll rot until your next visit. I can try to bring food with me, but I don't expect I'll have any more success with food than with any other object I've tried to transfer. Is there some removable part of my body, like hair or nails, that would show visible signs of decay over time? I'm not going to cut off a finger or something. I have injured myself, just cuts, in an attempt to see if there would be a fresh wound or at least a scar when I woke up, and there wasn't, but the pain was absolutely real. I can hurt myself there and feel it exactly as if I were awake, hence my reluctance to drop from the suspended platforms in the cavern. I have no idea what might happen if I die there. What about feces, or vomit? I feel I should be able to if I try. I never feel the need to eat or defecate there, but it stands to reason I should be able to if I try. Oh, for fuck's sake. What is it? It's the test animal. It took a shit in the maze. Well, clean it up. We can't interfere in any way or it would ruin the purity of the test. Listen to you. Fine, but it's going to be awkward showing students footage of this with a big stinking human turd right in the middle of the shot. Test administered to human. Time of completion of puzzle, did not complete. Result, human took a dump on the floor. Conclusion, not sentient, recommended extermination prior to settlement of Earth. The time you undressed yourself in the dream, did you find your clothes where you left them the next time, or were they gone? Gone. I did think of taking them off every time and building a gradually larger pile. Anything to try and provoke some kind of intervention from whoever watches me while I'm in there. They might have been taken away and burned after I awoke, or somehow returned to my body, as of course I woke up in those same clothes. I could catch the boy in the overalls, but so far I cannot corner the source of the other footsteps. If's more than one person and they move as a group, but I cannot so much as catch a glimpse of them. There are so many things I want to ask. Also, try and polish metal with your clothes and use as a makeshift mirror, try to see your reflection. I did this once. I won't do it again. The least rusted metal surface I could find was a boiler. Boilers aren't usually made of reflective metals to my knowledge. But this one was reflective enough when wiped clean with some spit and my sleeve that I could see myself reflected in it. My face was featureless, identical to the boy in the overalls. It's wrong. Or the reflection was distorted. I can see while I'm there, so obviously I have working eyes. I don't want to try again. I don't want to see that. It's enough to know I have eyes. I can speak, so I know I have a mouth. When I touch my face, I can feel my mouth and eyes. I don't need to see my reflection. I'm not doing that again. It is unnecessary. If this is an experiment, I'm betting everything that it's to test the lengths you will go to in order to satisfy your curiosity. That includes experimenting on the boy. And self-harm, like cutting off a limb, or jumping to your death. That's either the success or failure condition of the test, and the only surefire way to bring it to a conclusion. I'm afraid to try this, but at the same time what you say makes a lot of sense. But so did an earlier suggestion that I try to create order and symmetry by returning the boy to its cage. Both assume it's a game or a puzzle with some way to win or lose. That could also be a red herring. What are you seeing the therapist about? The dreams, originally. But she's part of a university training thing for psychology students. She isn't properly qualified, but it's free. I am no longer distressed by the dreams, nor do I still think I am losing my mind, but that doesn't mean I'm okay with it. You have some sense of normalcy and continuity to your life where nothing obviously abnormal happens in day-to-day experience. But it happens to me every night. We aren't made to cope with that. We can handle short bursts of it. But when it's there night after night and there's no escape, the anxiety makes it difficult to think clearly. Sometimes I get back in these patterns of thought where I don't want to remember being in the cage room or looking at my reflection, but I am pulled back to it over and over. Like a computational loop. Like having to return there every night. Can you draw one of the rooms up with detail? Not too much, just to understand what it looks like. If you could, the room with the machines would be cool. From what you would see if you walked in from the door. I can try that for the next thread. I am not a very good artist. I've been pics that are as close as I can find. But yet if you can tolerate poor drawing skills, I'll do that for the next thread. Based on suggestions, I also intend to draw something with my finger in the grime on a window, or to use something sharp to carve words into a wall. I'm curious to know whether words I write will be impossible to visually comprehend, or if it's only the language already written some places in the foundry. Why? No mirror? It has taken a long time to come to terms with this. I am just now to the point where made peace with the knowledge that, based on what I've seen, this will never end, and that each night, regardless of what I want, I have to go back there. It is not so much seeing my reflection that I can't handle. On top of all that, if's what some in the thread have suggested that it means, with regards to the cage, and the boy. I won't lie, your attitude is weirder than the experience you're describing here. She said acceptance, and adjusting to my new reality would diminish the anxiety. She was right. I have no reason not to trust her advice. I'm so tired. It's 5 a.m. I've put this off longer than usual. Once I stayed up for as long as I could, it wrecked me. And it was a useless attempt at defiance. In the end, I still woke up in that room. So long as I need sleep, I won't be able to stay away longer than a few days. Soon I'll be there again. I'll open my eyes and see the windows, then the staircase. The full extent of my power to avoid it is caffeine pills and other drugs that can delay this for maybe 72 hours. But it's futile. It's like eating a calorie-restricted diet just to gain a few years. You still inevitably die. Your current course of actions won't take you anywhere. You're accepting of being accidental prisoner for the rest of your life. I know. I am willing to try your experiments. That way at least each night isn't identical to the last. That is my small act of dissent. I apologize if it's underwhelming. It's the most I can manage. Don't know if this goes in fit or X. Whatevs, here's the story. It's fucking long, but bear with me. Friend not in the story tells us about place to get palm readings. Lifting buddy and I go to get palms read. Show up to this shady ass place at 10 in the morning wearing our workout gear. Ghost bits is already mirin. Stereotypical scraggly gypsy woman shakes our hands and seats us at the table with a crystal ball. Asks who wants to go first. Hispanic heritage kicks in and I nope at the last minute. Friend chads up to the plate. Woman grabs his hand. He flexes slightly. Woman goes from smiling to horrified. Starts grabbing and studying his hand like a last will. Feelin' weird, man. Tells my friend he's got something following him. Ask him if he did any Ouija